And so in this video, we're going to continue looking at customizing virtual machines in VirtualBox, and then we're going to take a nice look and install the guest editions for Linux. First thing we want to do is we want to shut down this computer, so this virtual machine. So we're going to say power off. We're going to bring back the main console, and we're going to look at the settings here. We have general. This allows you to change the operating system. This really isn't a good idea if you have it already installed. The snapshot folder, where your saved snapshots will be taken, and your directory, advanced and descriptions. You have the motherboard here. You can go ahead and change the memory if you didn't like 1000 or 500 or 256. You can go ahead and change it. Give it a 1 gig of memory. We can go ahead and change the boot order if we want to boot up from the floppy, the CD-ROM, and so forth, and all these other settings. Processor, we can change the processor. We can have a maximum of 32 CPUs. Acceleration, which is nice. You can go ahead and enable acceleration display. Change the video memory here. Enable 3D acceleration, which I'm going to turn on immediately, because if you're using Linux, this is going to be quite nice. It allows you to use the 3D effects in Linux. Enable server, which I'm going to leave alone. Hard disk. If you click on the hard disk, you can go ahead and view its contents and change some other control types and other settings here. If you're more advanced in virtualization, you can change the CD mount. You can either have the virtual machine mount the CD drive or the image. It's best to just leave the CD after you've installed the operating system. You can mount a floppy disk drive if you actually have one. No one has one. But anyway, enable your audio so that you can hear your virtual machine. Network, which I've told you many times to just leave alone if you have an internet connection. In your ports, serial ports, USB. You can add and take away USB and set up shared folders, which is nice as soon as you have the guest editions installed and so forth. So let's go ahead and say start up. And what we're going to do in this, and for the rest of this video, we're going to install the guest editions for Linux. Now, the guest editions for all operating systems in VirtualBox is this. It's going to install a bunch of drivers, a bunch of other things that will make the virtual machine run a lot better on your computer. For instance, if you're using Windows or Vista and you install Windows XP, the guest editions will make it easier for you to use the seamless mode, which is similar to coherence that I showed in parallels in the earlier videos in virtualization, where the windows float on top of each other, so that they look like they're all like fused, like Windows and Vistas, Windows XP and Vistas, all one operating system. Basically having windows float on top of each other. Other things are other drivers. Driver support is also gonna get rid of the fact that you need to click or press the right control button to get in and out of the virtual machine. Once you install the guest editions, that won't be necessary anymore, because you can freely use your mouse on your Windows host and your Linux host without having to use that right control key to get out. I'm gonna show you. The first thing we want to do in Linux is a little bit more difficult with the guest editions, because you're gonna have to install it from the command line. So what we want to do is, once Ubuntu gets settled here, we want to go ahead and we want to go to the terminal, which is going to be an accessories. I'm going to make sure that I have this on the launcher panel in the desktop. Open up terminal here, And the first thing we want to do is make sure that we have the root created. So I'm going to go ahead and create the root user's password. So what you want to do is you want to do sudo root. No, not sudo root. We want to make the password. So let's do that. Okay, so basically what I just did, we're going to clear the screen, is I did sudo and we did password. Once you have that down, go ahead and create the root password for the root user if it's not been created already. After that, switch to the root user, SU, put the root user's password that you just created. Once you're logged in as the root, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and go to devices and go to install guest editions. VirtualBox will mount the CD, the image for that, on your Linux operating system. I'm gonna change the directory to the root user, to the root of the operating system here. We're gonna do an ls, and we're gonna find the CD-ROM. We're gonna change the directory to the CD-ROM. Do an ls on that. And once we've made it to the CD-ROM, the guest editions, we want to use VBox Linux editions and choose whichever one you need to use here. So I'm going to use the times 86 run. And what you want to do here is you want to do /. This is going to install the guest editions. Do /VBox Linux editions dash times 86.run. And this is going to install the guest editions on your Ubuntu system or whatever Linux system you're using. And it's going to require you to restart the system. So we're going to let this go ahead and install that. It doesn't take too long. We're going to reboot our Ubuntu system. Okay, welcome back. I've just installed the guest editions and I've just restarted my Ubuntu 9 operating system. The guest editions have been successfully installed, and we're going to stop the video here so that we can do another one, and we're going to be discussing the Linux 3D effects in the seamless mode that's really popular and very nice in Linux systems and in VirtualBox. That's it for this video.